Hey Miss, my name is Eugene, currently studying Bachelor of Mass Comm major in Broadcasting, minor in PR. So today the theory I'll be talking about is social learning theory. So what is social learning theory? It's a theory that talks about how people learn, and one of the ways learning can occur is through observing and imitating someone else's behavior. So the social learning theory claims that people learn not only by being rewarded or punished, but they can also learn from watching somebody else being rewarded and punished. So it is very important for us to understand why people can make certain decisions in their life and what are the factors in the environment that have contributed towards this person's action, so that we can connect it with our PR campaigns and the things that we want to do inside PR. So before I talk more into one of the examples in PR, I would like to talk more about the history, like why did this theory came out, like where did it came from. So in the 1960s, it was the time where television is the main source of media, and it was also the source where most people consume their content. So television violence and child violence was often associated with each other. So at that time, a psychologist named Albert Bandura, he decided to make an experiment to study about it. So he decided to do his experiment on kids, and this experiment actually became one of the most famous experiment in the psychology field also. It's called the Bobo doll experiment. So it's related with kids and a doll. So at first, these kids, they were put into a room to see adults beating a doll, a Bobo doll, and then like very violently like that. So after looking at these adults' behavior for a certain time, then they put this kid into a room with some toys. So at first, this kid had some toys, but then after that, this kid's his toys were taken away except for the Bobo doll. Only the Bobo doll was left there. So it actually made the kid felt frustrated because their toys were taken away. So for the kids who saw the adult who hit the Bobo doll, right, they responded by hitting the only Bobo doll they have also. And all of them learn this behavior, especially for those who share the same gender with the adult they saw. Like a boy is more likely to hit the Bobo doll when they have seen a guy and a male adult that hits the Bobo doll. However, for kids who didn't saw this behavior, for kids who saw that the adults were playing very nicely with the Bobo doll or ignoring the Bobo doll, they didn't respond the same way for their frustration. They just kind of play with their Bobo doll and they didn't hit this Bobo doll. So because of this experiment, people started to learn and notice and pay attention to this phenomenon. And people started to dive into this field of study to understand how they can apply it for their own purposes. So speaking of applying, so how can it be applied in PR? So one of the ways that the social learning theory was implemented like recently is through a campaign called Like a Girl, which was launched by a brand named Always. So this campaign's goal was to redefine the negative feelings of doing things like a girl. And in this video, girls from different age groups were asked to think about times when they were limited because they were a girl, they are a girl, and then they write it down. And then at the end of this video, each of these girls symbolically destroyed their boxes that contain these messages. So by applying this social learning theory, this brand name Always, their public relation professionals were able to reach their audiences and empower them. They engage them with their audience's emotional side, encourage them to do the same thing, and change their attitude, change their behavior, and therefore connect them by telling them that their brand also share the same value and beliefs with them. So this is one of the examples that how we can apply it for PR. So that's all for my learning for this particular theory. Yeah. Bye.